Hi, it's Canis Hamill here from EUEI, European E-Learning Institute, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Digital Wellbeing Educators Digital Pedagogy course, IO3 of the Erasmus Plus project, Digital Wellbeing Educators. Previous presenters have talked about IO1 and IO2. I'll be dealing just with the IO3 the Digital Pedagogy Toolkit. So it's actually found, you can see on your screen here, the Digital Wellbeing site. You can see it's found under the Learning Resources. The resources are available in both English and Spanish, but as I don't speak Spanish, I'm going to demonstrate it today in the English language version. So under English, we get the rollout in the navigation system, and you can see the other outputs of the project appear. So I'm specifically going to talk about the teacher's digital pedagogy toolkit. That's the problem of rollover. So we'll be clicking. It takes us to the home page of the toolkit. And on this page you can find all the introductory text for the toolkit. One of the innovative aspects of the toolkit is that we've designed it from a user's point of view. We've considered what a teacher or educator might want to do, various uses of digital tools, and we've developed our unique 7-category classification system. We can take you through the categories. So we have here a variety of categories. So if as an educator you want to create a new course or create a new online e-learning course, then these are tools, simple tools that will allow you to do that. Each tool has been designed so you can master it within an hour, and in many cases it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes to be efficient in using the tool. So here under the course creation category you'll find tools for creating courses, and I'll show you a few of those shortly. You have a category of presentation software animation tools. So maybe if you're a bit tired of using PowerPoint or whatever, here are some alternatives. And some actually very neat animation tools in that category. We have our webinar and meeting tools. I guess we're all now much more au fait with webinar and meeting tools. Zoom, Skype obviously is still a pretty standard one. Microsoft Teams. There's plenty of them out there, but we recommend some under that category. We have screencasting audio and video capture tools. That you, as I'm doing here now, record my screen and talk to you via the video. We have collaboration and file sharing tools. So increasingly educators are using these with their students for the sharing of workload, but also encouraging students themselves to collaborate through these digital tools. We have bookmarking and curation tools. So rather than just simply using the bookmarking function of your browser, these are much more sophisticated ways of curating and organizing your research and online activity. And then finally, we have some project management tools, which are great for particularly for project work with students, but also encouraging students to learn these digital project management tools also, as it's something that they're certainly going to need in the world of work. So that's our 7 categories of how we've organized the tools. I'll just flick back to the overview page of the toolkit. So as it says here, these are our top 20 tools we've selected, and there are hundreds of tools out there, and we've been through many, probably over 100 tools in each of the categories. First of all, to put them into the correct category, and then to select what we feel are the best, easiest to use, most reliable, in many cases cheapest tools in found that you can learn them certainly in an hour and in many cases in less than 30 minutes. And the toolkit then follows a 5-step approach. The first step is we watch a short overview video on the tool, and we present some written reading summary to understand how it works, to get a snapshot of the tool, and whether it's something that's right, whether the initial impression is something that's right for you. In the next stage in our 5-stage process, or 5-step process, is to read a short pedagogic report looking at the teaching potential of the tools. Some of the tools may not initially strike you as being teaching tools. So, for example, Monday is essentially a project management tool. So it's how the teaching potential of how you use Monday or Dropbox, for example, in a teaching environment. So that's outlined in our pedagogic report here. The third stage then in the toolkit is where we learn from others. So looking at how other educators, other teachers, other lecturers are using those tools in their teaching, in their classes with their students. Then we look at get started with the tool, provide you with a simple overview, step-by-step approach on how to, in many cases, download the tool, familiarise yourself with the tool, and then put the tool into action. And then finally, the last step in our 5-step process is a call to action to encourage you to actually use the tool and put it into action. So then on our homepage, give it a go. What are the benefits of these tools? What are the benefits for you as an educator? Well, firstly, learning intuitive, powerful tools for engaging students. We all know students are very, very digitally orientated these days. They're very much in the mobile phone generation. These are tools which sit well with students. The second thing we benefit from is understanding that the pedagogic potential of some of these tools. Many of them are obviously teaching tools, but some of them are less obviously teaching tools. And we hope to highlight how even those which maybe weren't designed with the primary function of teaching can also be used in the classroom and a group work environment with students. Thirdly, we hope the benefit would be that we hope to motivate you to incorporate some of these new tools into your teaching practice. We presented 20 tools for you. We're not expecting you to dive in and learn 20 tools. But maybe you start with 1 or 2 tools, see the potential, become familiar, and then look at increasing digital tools in your own teaching. And then finally, the other benefit would be to increase your own digital literacy enormously. The actual sort of process for you of learning the tool will improve your own digital literacy and your digital skills. So finally, while each tool has a 5-step approach, if you want to download the pedagogic report, the overview report on each of the 20 tools that we recommend and select, then we have our pedagogy assessment here. It's a very visual presentation. You can download it here. You can see you can download it already 226 times. And that if like is a shortcut to the overview of all of the 20 tools. As you can see from the graphic, it's a very visual and attractive publication. So then let's go and look at some of our tools. So back to our menu, English, and then here we have our course creation tools. So the one I'm interested in is, let's start. So we have WordPress. WordPress is fantastic now for putting up courses online, very simple, very straightforward to use. You don't need a lot of technical expertise. You can also have a full learning management system in WordPress if you so wish. Edpuzzle, which is quite a bit of animation in that. The one I'm most interested in showing you, and which is my kind of at the moment my go-to course creation tool, is TED-Ed. So there's 4 tools in this category. You can then see the other as we go down the other tools within the categories. But we'll start with TED-Ed, and then I'll show you a few other examples of our 5-step approach. TED, click on TED, and it takes you to the TED page on the Digital Wellbeing Educators site. So as I mentioned previously, we have our 5-step approach. You can see here with the link to the TED site, the TED logo. Many of you will be familiar with TED Talks. Fantastic resource for teaching and educating generally. But what many people don't know is that TED also have an educational division where they have using their video-based resources in an online course in an online classroom. So the first stage in our 5-step approach is to watch a short overview video of what TED is or TED is. So I'll just watch the video. I might watch a bit of it and see. So there you go. So we're back. We now have had a very quick and overview of TED Ed. So hopefully you agree that was worth 3 minutes of your life. So that's the starting point. Each of the resources has a short overview video, more or less to give you the overview, a little bit of encouragement to try it out. You get a snapshot. Yes, I think this is something that might be good for me. Then also as part of our toolkit, look at 3 reasons why to use TED Ed in the classroom. So there's you can use a bank of videos um, of the TED Talks, for example, or YouTube, or you can upload your own video to YouTube and then base your lesson around that. So you have a great lesson plan structure, think section, dig deeper section, and then also uh, the facility to ask the students questions, test their knowledge, see who's engaged, who's taken see who's actually engaged with the video and what they've learned. So you have, as I said, that one of the most powerful features is that the availability to track and measure the various forms of engagement with your lesson. And then, so here are some, we've also then given some examples of possibilities with TED Ed. We can implement the flipped classroom pedagogy. We can do some personalization with it. We can encourage student learning, peer learning, and discussion between the students themselves through a discussion facility on TED Ed. And then if you want, you can either set your settings so that it's only available to your students, or you can open it up more broadly on the internet. So that's this first section of our 5-step approach, is to watch the short video. Step 2 then is read a little bit about the pedagogic potential of TED Ed. So these are typically 2 to 3 pages long. We look at the advantages and some of the disadvantages. This highlights if there are cost implications. TED Ed itself is free, but some of the other tools we suggest that there is a cost to them, at least for the more, if you want all of the functionality. Um, and that's outlined in the pedagogic assessment. We also look at how teachers are using it. We have some quotations from teachers of their experiences using the tools. Then the next section then is we look at learning from others. So it's again looking how other teachers are using TED Ed or use, in this case TED Ed, are using the tool in a teaching environment. So here if you want to look at the next, let's just take the first one. So there we can see an example of how TED Ed could very easily be used in a flipped classroom situation. So, and there are other videos there of how educators are using TED Ed. So that's step 3 in our 5-step process. Step 4 then is actually the how to actually get started with TED Ed, how to use the tool. And in this case, we have a 9-step process. So step 1, go to TED Ed. Step 2, find the YouTube video. Step 3, and so on and so forth through to step 9. And then finally, the 5th step in our 5-step process of call to action is our TED Ed flipped learning module. And then you can click here to take you to the TED Ed. But I'm not actually do that. You can see the 5-step approach. What I'd like to do is take you back then to the Toolkit, and we look at some other lessons in some other categories and some other tools. My video box. So again, let's take a look at some marketing and curation. Let's go to power trees. Another example of one of our tools. So again, the 5-step approach. We have our Pearl Trees logo here, so you know you're on it's the right software. We have the link to the Pearl Trees site. Then our 5-step approach. And we start off with Pearl Trees. It's a visual and collaborative curation tool that allows users to organize, explore, and share any URL they find online, as well as to upload their own personal photos, files, and notes. Why educators should use Pearl Trees? It offers a great collaborative organizational system to digitize all of the projects with ease and consistency. It's a great tool for organizing your own research, and also particularly for students to organize their research around the topic. And there actually is a teacher plan available now for Pearl Trees at very low cost. So we'll just take a quick look at what is the Pearl Trees video. So that's the overview of Pearl Trees. So you can see while teaching, there are other uses to Pearl Trees other than purely an educational aspect. So generally organizing your digital life, it's great for that. But I think hopefully we can see how it can easily be used in an educational environment. So again, the same 5-step approach. You download the pedagogic report on Pearl Trees, the advantages and disadvantages, some experiences from fellow educators, and then our section on learning from others. Again, so you can see how others are using Pearl Trees in their teaching, how to get started with Pearl Trees. So in this case, you can see it's only a 3-step approach, and then finally the action, your call to action, how to implement Pearl Trees. You can see that consistency throughout our tools. Well, I'd just like to finish off my presentation, then just to give you just a quick snapshot of what the 20 tools are. So again, so under course creation, we have WordPress, which we talked about. We have Edpuzzle, we have TED Ed, we have Go Conquer, and that's your 4 in that category. Under collaboration and file sharing tools, we have Dropbox, which is a cloud-based file sharing system. Slack, which is like a business version of WhatsApp for industry uses it quite a lot. It's quite an upcoming product. And WeTransfer for sending files, pretty useful for sending large files to groups of students at no cost. Screen capture tools and audio casting. We have Adobe Spark, which is a lovely product for both for screencasting, but also for adding a bit of polish to your presentations. You have Camtasia, which is video recording, and Screencast-O-Matic, which is probably the best known screencasting tool. Presentation and animation tools, we have Kahoot, which is actually now becoming sort of quite prevalent in classrooms. Students are loving it. Very visual product. Lots of interactivity with that. We have Nearpod, which is again a really nice, lovely product for creating very animated presentations. Lots of interactive features in that. Lots of polling, lots of questions. Great for engaging students in the classroom. You can create your own presentations within Nearpod, or also by easily upload a PowerPoint or a PDF that you already have, and then add the interactive elements to your PowerPoint or PDF. Really highly recommend Nearpod. Powtone then, again, a great tool, great animation tool, very simple to create engaging animations. Webinars and meeting tools, Zoom, which I guess we're now all familiar with since COVID-19. It's went from zero to almost the industry standard in the space of 4 months. Skype, which is a voice over internet protocol tool for online communication, and then GoToWebinar, which is again one of the best webinar delivery platforms. The free version works pretty good. The paid for version is really excellent. Project management, we have Monday. So again, these are tools, particularly in project management, which you may not have thought of as teaching tools, but great tools for engaging students in their project work. The other plus point is that these are tools that industry is using, so if and when your students are out in the world of work, they're going to be familiar with the tools that business are using. Those are our 7 categories, and those are our 20 tools. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and if you just Google Digital Wellbeing Educators, it'll take you to the site, and then you have all the resources on the site. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed that.